Hey guys, it's Gabe on Music, back with another video, and this time I'm starting a new series called Bands I Learned About in College. Now, I attended St. Cloud State University for 3 years and worked at my college radio station, KVSC. From my time there, I learned a lot about great bands that I probably wouldn't have heard of if I hadn't worked there. I was assistant music director for a time, so I was constantly reviewing new bands' albums and discovering new sounds. In this series, I just wanted to highlight some of the best bands I came upon, and hopefully you'll like them as well and fall in love with them just like I did. So without further ado, let's highlight the first band in the series, Foxy Shazam. They're a band I came upon in 2013. At a time, I was attending community college, but I was still going up once a week to do a show at the radio station. I randomly played them once during a show, and I instantly fell in love with what I heard. It was rock, which I love, but it wasn't your typical strum-by-the-numbers jam that you heard on your local rock station. It had different instruments at play, like the saxophone and keyboard. But what really hooked me was the lead singer, Eric Nally. He had a Freddie Mercury-esque delivery and range that made him really stand out to me. I never really heard anything like it. I would play at least one song during every shift and eventually got to review their 2014 album, Gonzo. That's a very interesting album, but we'll talk about that later. Foxy Shazam was born all the way back in 2004 in Cincinnati, Ohio. They got their name because, as Nally explained, that's what kids at their school would call a cool pair of shoes, a Foxy Shazam. They released their first album in 2005 called The Flamingo Trigger, and I gotta be honest, I haven't heard much of this album. They self-released the album, so it has a very rough kind of sound, but one thing was for certain from listening to the album, this band brought something different to the table.
I'm different, yeah, I'm different.
They signed with Ferret Records and released their second album in 2008 called Introducing Foxy Shazam. Some of the tracks I would suggest you check out from that one are A Dangerous Man and Yes, Yes, Yes. The album introduced the band to a larger audience, scoring opening spots for bands like Portugal the Man and Panic at the Disco. They gained a bigger following and record labels started to notice. They signed with Sire Records in 2010 and released what I believe is their best album to date, their self-titled album. I can listen to this album from top to bottom and not skip a single track. From the anthemic Unstoppable, which is perfect to play after a victory, to the vicious The Only Way to My Heart, where Eric Nally sings about the nitty-gritty of lovemaking.
I like sex. It's nice.
There are softer moments on this album such as Evil Thoughts and anthems such as Bye Bye Symphony, which has one of my favorite choruses of all time. Life is a bitch, but she's totally doable. She'll knock you around and she'll lend you a hand. On the song's second floor, Nally sings about how he doesn't feel at home with the famous and rich people and wants to be with the commoners who were with him when the band first started. And I can't forget the song Killing It, where he plainly states that he wants to shine bright while his light is lit. Even some of the extended tracks off of the album are great, such as the song Teenage Demon Baby. Now, I know that's a weird title of a song, but trust me, it's great. In my opinion, you can't go wrong with a single song off of the self-titled album, and I would highly recommend checking it out. They moved on from Sire Records and signed with IRS Records and released their fourth album, The Church of Rock and Roll, in 2012. The album was produced by Justin Hopkins of the band The Darkness, which is a perfect fit for this band. This album produced their only charting song to date called I Like It, which is sort of strange considering the lyrical content. The chorus goes, "That's the biggest black ass I've ever seen, and I like it." This song could be seen as kind of problematic in today's PC era.
Social justice, 1, 2, 3. I wanna be PC.
But I love it. It's a rockin' good time. Other can't miss songs on the album are The Temple, where Eric Nally sings about sex in a very scintillating way,
I like sex. It's nice.
and the opener, Welcome to the Church of Rock and Roll, which sets the table for the entire album. I wouldn't say this one is as strong as their previous album, but it's one that I still thoroughly enjoy. Foxy would take a different direction for their next album, releasing Gonzo free online in 2014. The album was much more downtrodden and had kind of a strange feel. It was a lot less polished and less guitar driven. I liked it, but not as much as their past album. But this does hold the distinction of the first album I ever reviewed for my college radio station. I was fortunate enough to see this band on their Gonzo tour when it came to Mill City Nights in Minneapolis in 2014. By the way, rest in peace to Mill City Nights. It was a great venue that sadly no longer exists. This concert remains my favorite concert of all time. Not only was it the first time that I felt like I was at a real rock show, but the spectacle was amazing.
The pageantry, the costumes, wow.
The performance the band put on blew me away. You had Eric Nally spilling his heart out on stage, Sky White playing the keyboards on his knee, and Alex Noth killing it with the saxophone. Much like Freddie Mercury, Nally knows how to put on a show. They capitalized the performance with something I thought I would never see. Nally asked for a pack of cigarettes from the crowd and put them all in his mouth and lit them all. It was so bizarre, but such a rock and roll baller move at the same time. If you ever get a chance to see this band live, do it.
Just do it!
The good news is you might get the chance to actually see them. They went on hiatus from 2014 to 2020, but have recently come back and released a couple songs and had a return show scheduled in Cincinnati, which unfortunately got canceled due to COVID. They also have a new album scheduled to come out in December, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the road once the whole COVID things blows over. One thing I do know is that if you want a new sounding rock band that incorporates more than just standard drums, bass, and guitar elements, you need to check out this band. It will blow you away. So that's the episode. Don't forget to leave a like and share and subscribe, and most importantly, give the band a listen. You'll thank me later. Also, let me know if you like this series and want to see more entries into this series. I got about 4 or 5 bands that I want to highlight and bands that I learned about in college. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Gabe on Music.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.